Nigerian Senate has condemned herdsman killing in Benue State and other parts of the country. Senate President Bukola Saraki, during the welcome address to the lawmaker upon their resumption from Christmas and New Year break, said the more sober reflection is needed on the killing in some part of the country, particularly the recent tragic events in Benue State.
Distinguished colleagues, you agree with me that even more the sober reflection attends to the killings recently in some parts of the country, particularly the recent tragic events in Benue State. We all condemn these killings in the strongest terms, and we declare that mindless bloodletting has no place in our society. I offer our sincere condolences to the people of Benue and indeed all who have suffered the loss of their loved ones as a result of these wanton acts. Human life is sacred. We state without equivocation that Nigerian life must become sacred. When we fail in our duty to protect Nigerian lives, it is a tragedy, an indictment on all of us. We as the 8th Senate must stand ready to help to find solutions to assuage the hurt to affected parts and bring perpetrators to justice and enthrone peace in all the corners of our country.
Leader of the Senate, Senator Ahmed Lawal, who presented the report of the ad hoc committee on the review of security infrastructure in Nigeria on the emergency visit to Benue State, condemned the massacre of farmers in Logo and Guma local government area of Benue State and called for a working synergy between and amongst security operatives to combat the worrisome situation.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Senate committee, this Senate condemns our recommendation. The Senate condemns in the strongest possible terms the wanton criminal attacks that claimed the lives of more than 73 innocent citizens in Guma and Logo local government areas of Benue State. 2. The Senate urges the security and intelligence agencies to leave no stone unturned in apprehending the perpetrators and the sponsors of these heinous crimes and similar crimes in Zamfara, Kaduna, Plateau, Taraba, Adamawa, Edo, Enugu, and elsewhere, so that they are brought before the law to answer for their crimes. The days of indifference, complacency, negligence, and impunity must come to an end. 3. The federal government should re-examine, revamp, and reinvent the nation's security architecture and infrastructure in order to ensure that no community or entity is left unsecured and unsafe.
Other lawmakers who took turn to condemn the killing in Benue State said killing were uncalled for. The father said that the perpetrator must be brought to justice and ensure that people are kept safe.
Distinguished colleagues, Nigerians are not the only people worried. The international community, especially the intelligence and security community, they have reviewed that war is coming to Nigeria. And we must not sit by and watch this to happen. This brings me to the very important, of course, the most important provision of our Constitution, which is section 14(2)b of our Constitution. That section of the Constitution is saying that the principal purpose of government is the provision of security and the welfare of the people. Every day we cite this provision. Every day we sit here, we observe the ritual of 1 minute silence. We condemn the killings, we sympathize with the victims. I'm getting tired of all this. Now, for us to get the full impact of the provisions of section 14(2)b of our Constitution, and why I say that is the most important provision, is that we just have to have a society. We just have to have peace, security, before we begin to talk about infrastructures and all that other good things of life.
And one of the key recommendations I have always made, whilst we are attempting to amend the Constitution, sir, is the fact that we should not continue to make the chief executive officers of various states of the Federation commanders without troops. Because so long as a governor is helpless, is unable to command troops on the ground when there is an insurgency or when there is a crisis, then so long will we continue to have loss of lives in this kind of magnitude. I want to sympathize with the governor of Benue State. And the good people of Benue said, and even Mr. President, because any life that is lost is being a Nigerian is a loss to the president himself. And urged that we should revisit the constitutional amendment and see how we can put in the issue of community policing or state police.
Nigeria is not the country with the largest cattle in the world. Are they having all these crises in other countries? There are modern ways of doing things, and we must grow with time. We cannot be operating an archaic system that we have if it doesn't fit into the modern situation. So I think, sir, Mr. President, that we must address all these issues. I'm more worried if indeed it is by foreigners. So foreigners are invading this country, they're killing people, and government cannot protect them. How can anybody justify this?
Also, in his contribution, Senator Dino Melai said justice is a scarce commodity. Said that President Muhammadu Buhari and his vice, Yemi Osinbajo, should take a bold step and bring the perpetrator to justice.
Commission of inquiry upon commission of inquiry. Presidential committees upon presidential committees. And we have volumes of reports on these satanic killings from Taraba to Benue, from Benue to Zamfara, from Zamfara to Niger State, from Niger State to Enugu, from Enugu to Edo. Mr. President, we have volumes of reports.
It will be recalled that 73 people were reportedly killed by suspected herdsmen on New Year Eve in Benue State.
Gambian President Adama Barrow has disclosed how President Muhammadu Buhari forced former President Yahya Jammeh to retrace his step and accept to go into exile. The 51-year-old Barrow, who is on a one-day state visit to Nigeria, thanked President Muhammadu Buhari for the fatherly role he played during the impasse in the Gambia.
This visit is very important to us. We always wanted to come to say thank you. But Nigeria gave us a lot of support during and after the impasse. And Nigeria has been supporting the Gambia for a long time ago in different areas. Technical assistance in the area of education, justice in the judiciary, education. I think we were really happy and encouraged by the efforts of the Nigerian government and the President of Nigeria. When we have our tete-a-tete, I told him when we met in Mali, he took a decision as a leader. I was in Mali in a closed-door meeting with the President. In that closed-door meeting, he made one statement that changed everything. That if the Gambian president wants to challenge the sub-region, he is welcome. This was his words, and that made a big difference as a leader. And that leadership role was very important, not for Gambia alone, but for Africa, because the problem was an African problem, and the solution was an African solution. So we are very grateful. That's why we wanted to come and say thank you. It's a saying in my country that if you want to thank a farmer for a good job, you have to visit him at his farm.
Speaking to State House Correspondent at the end of a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari, President Barrow also gave insight into the deal with the former president that led to his going on exile.
For him to accept and respect the will of the people, to exit to allow us to resume office. This was the deal. He accepted to go on exile because we couldn't guarantee his security.
On his part, the Nigerian president, Muhammadu Buhari, said Nigeria and the Gambia will raise a team that will draw up a political program that will complement each other on development.
We will raise a correspondent team that will sit together and see how we can draw a practical program, how we can complement each other's efforts for development. So this is what the next thing we are going to do.
Adama Barrow, a property developer who never had elected office before, won a December 1st, 2016 election to end the rule of long-term leader Yaya Jammeh in the Gambia. From the Aso Presidential Villa, Abuja, I am Festus Ejiroga Nefife for Ben Television.
Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, has admonished Nigerians from different strata to avoid all divisive tendencies and embrace the spirit of oneness. The SGF made this known in Abuja when he received some Nigerians who came to congratulate him on his new appointment. The SGF, in a statement signed by the Deputy Director of Press, Nakoji Mohammed, noted that the citizens have allowed the culture of divisiveness to grow in their minds so much that friendship, interacting and relating with others is now informed and conditioned by what tribe or religion one belongs to. He, however, assured Nigerians that the present government led by Muhammadu Buhari is doing everything possible to deliver a safer and saner Nigeria to its citizenry.
Ahead of 2019 general election, the Independent National Electoral Commission says a poorly conducted poll can cause a civil war. Chairman of the INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, said this when members of the Red Card movement visited the headquarters of the commission in Abuja. Yakub said the commission is fully aware of the enormous responsibility before it. He said that a very good and well-conducted election is good for stability of a nation, while a poorly conducted election may lead to anarchy and even civil war. Chairman assured that the citizen vote will count and this will be the basis for electing representatives at the various levels of government. INEC chairman also expressed delight in the increased number of registered voters, especially in Benue, where clashes between herdsmen and farmers had left many dead in recent time. Yakub promised that all the persons who have been registered will get their permanent voters card before 2019 general election.
Lovely place, right?
Yes.
What's wrong? You don't look happy.
Take a look around. Why can't my hotel be like this?
I knew something was wrong, but I've got solution.
Solution? What?
Nanet.
Nanet?
Nanet offers you design solutions, building plans and construction, furnishing and equipping, financing, management, audit services, and many more services for a better hospitality business. Nanet, service with a smile.
Senate President Bukola Saraki has appealed to the lawmaker and other public office holders to jettison political activities towards 2019 general election and focus on good governance for now, saying it is too early for 2019 politicking to override the legislative agenda and the larger work of governance. Senate President stated this at the resumption of plenary after the Christmas and New Year break. He also said the current fuel scarcity in the country was man-made.
My own estimation of the fuel scarcity phenomenon is that it is man-made. We thought we had left the problem of fuel queues firmly in the past in this country. But sadly, that appears not to be the case. In any event, there is a problem and it must be solved. This is my appeal. It is too early for 2019 politicking to override not only the legislative agenda, but the larger work of governance in general. My appeal is that this is not good for our economy. It is also insensitive to our people, and therefore making an appeal not only to members of this chamber, but also to the executive and all political actors that we must put governance first at this moment in time.
The African Development Bank has restated its commitment to Nigeria's development and partnership, just as it identified specific programs it plans to focus its attention on in 2018. The bank's country director, Fal Ebrima, stated this in Abuja during a media briefing to announce the official commissioning of its Nigerian office complex by President Muhammadu Buhari on Thursday. Ebrima, who disclosed that AFDB's annual support to Nigeria in the last 4 years averaged between $700 million and $900 million, said the bank's focal programs will be on power, health, small and medium-scale industries, agriculture and allied businesses, ICT and youth empowerment. The country director said some of the projects to be executed in partnership with the World Bank and other partners, as well as the private sector, include those in Jigawa, Bauchi, Sokoto, Akwa Ibom, and Lagos states. On the details of specific projects to be executed by the bank during the year, Ebrima said the Santa Clara Clinic and a cassava project to go up about $27 million and $36 million respectively. Others include a $200 million Jigawa solar project, a $100 million 55 megawatt capacity solar project in Sokoto, a 540 megawatt Kwaibo power plant that will take about $900 million, a $170 million Bauchi solar project and Sky Power solar project. He said the bank is also planning a transmission line development project with the Transmission Company of Nigeria this year to help distribute available electricity across the country.
Nigerian Minister of Science and Technology Ogbonnaya Ono said research activity of the ministry have led to production of high-density nutrient biscuit in the country. Dr. Ogbonnaya made this known at a news conference in Abuja. He said the research for the new biscuit came after 2017 edition of Science, Technology and Innovation Expo. Ogbonnaya also disclosed that the preparation was in top gear for this year's edition of the Science, Technology and Innovation Expo with the theme Fast-Tracking Sustainable Development of Nigeria. He said this year's Expo was aimed at encouraging interaction between researcher and investor with a view of commercializing research results, invention and innovation from Nigerian research and tertiary institutions.